Welcome to Mpowered Living. I'm Sheu. On this podcast, innovative leaders and visionary experts share insights and practical tools for work, family, and marriage. Each episode, we'll explore how to elevate your life while staying grounded in what truly matters to you. You're working hard to navigate relationships, build a thriving family, and create a legacy of purpose. We're here to help you do that with confidence and intentionality. So if you're ready to live a life by design, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to Mpowered Living. I'm your host, Sheu, and my guest today is Adam Roach. Adam is an entrepreneur, a coach, and the founder of the I Love Coaching community, where he helps coaches build meaningful businesses rooted in purpose, service, and real-life experience. In this episode, we talk about what it means to move from success to significance, how to recognize when you've outgrown a season of life, and why the people you surround yourself with can either keep you stuck or help you grow into who you are becoming. Adam also shares practical insights on building your own board of advisors, getting out of isolation, and learning to listen when something in you is saying it's time for a change. This is a thoughtful and inspiring conversation about identity, courage, and what it really takes to step into the next version of yourself. Let's dive in. Adam, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here today.
And thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. This is going to be a lot of fun.
I know. We're going to have a great conversation. Okay, let's get started because I have a long list of things that I want to talk to you about. Let's start with, what have you noticed about why so many successful people end up feeling stuck despite everything that they're doing feels like it was something that they once wanted?
That is such a good question. And personally, I've answered that 3 times in my life. 3 times, maybe 4 times. Gosh, what a great way to start this podcast, first and foremost. Such a deep, deep question to start. We have to identify our identity as we're going through our seasons of life, right? I mean, I'll take myself back. I'm the son of an Olympic swim coach. I am the grandson of a farmer from Indiana. And I'm the great-grandson of an even more bigger farmer in Indiana, right? And so growing up, I got to see Grandpa work hard on the farm. And we're talking like 2,000 plus acres on the farm, right? Corn, soybean, Indiana, cows, chickens. It was fun going to Grandpa's house, but I saw Grandpa work hard. And when I got to spend the night with him, it was hard work being at Grandpa's house, but I didn't know it was hard work then. It was like, hey, you got to get up, you got to do the chores, and you got to make sure you go to bed at an early time to have enough energy for the next day. And then I watched my father be an Olympic swim coach. So he traveled the world on magazine covers, in the Swimming Hall of Fame, and those types of things. And so I saw what I now define there as significance. Like, he was significant. He had significance. He didn't chase success. He chased significance. But I don't think he knew how to articulate it that way. And so I was a swimmer, but also a tennis player growing up. And I realized that I had more passion in the tennis space. So I went that route and played collegiate tennis at Indiana, and then went off and tried to play professional tennis and found out real quick that I was an American, not a European, and was getting my butt kicked bad in the 90s. And I wound up in SoCal from Indiana. And here was an Indiana boy thinking he was going to teach tennis to the stars in Beverly Hills. And I actually did, right? And so I'm answering this in a story-based standpoint because that was, looking back on it, that was late 90s, early 2000s. And that container that I was in that season of my life was that of an athlete, right? That of a tennis player. And so leaving the performance state, going into the business state, I thought, well, I might as well stay in the tennis space. So I did. I was a teaching tennis pro. I got into the business and the ownership of a tennis club, and myself and 3 other guys. It's still there to this day, called Beverly Hills Tennis, Los Angeles Olympic if you're in LA. And that was our business. But here's the crazy part to your question is, just think about this for a second. It's Southern California. It rains maybe 5 days a year, maybe 10 if it's a bad rainy season. It's sunny year round. I'm making cash as a 20-something. I'm teaching people like Tom Hanks and Courtney Cox and Val Kilmer tennis, and I'm putting cash in my pocket, and we're doing wild and crazy stuff in LA. Now I'm starting to invest in real estate, and I got bored of it. I got tired of it. I got to the end of that season, which I have about a 10-year cycle, and I thought to myself, I'm done. But I couldn't articulate that, right? Because who in their right mind would look at what I was doing in my life and say, how could and why could you ever want to leave that? But I felt something else calling. I didn't know what it was. And I can look back on it now and help my younger self, but I didn't know what it was there. And I was scared. I was afraid of what was on the other side. I didn't want to let anybody down. I didn't want to let my partners down. And I thought to myself, is something wrong with me? And I lived in that behavior for a long time. I say long time, like maybe 2 or 3 years, until I actually had someone say, hey, define your perfect day. And it wasn't on the tennis court. And at that time, I had started investing in real estate. I'd started flipping homes. I'd started wholesaling homes. And so I was like, hey, it is in the real estate space. And they said, what's stopping you from going forward in that space? And so fast forward, I did that. But that was a shorter time period because then I got into brokerage ownership. So I went down the path of investing. Then I got into the actual understanding of real estate, but from a brokerage standpoint, that I didn't really want to be doing the real estate. I wanted to have all the realtors that were giving me a percentage because I understood the economies of scale there. I thought, well, let's do that. And so I did. And I did that almost 4 times over, owning 4 different franchises up and down the Southeast coast. So I went from LA to Charleston, South Carolina. And I'm giving this long story because I want people to understand that each season in life, in the containers that you are in, it doesn't have to identify who you are, right? And so owning these real estate franchises and building a SaaS model, a SaaS business, man, success was great. Cash flow is great. This was in the post Great Recession. So we're coming back. Real estate's booming in Charleston. My SaaS business is like 6 figures a month. It's ridiculous. And then my father dies. And that was 2019. Now, pause for a second, because what I had learned during that time is if you're self-reliant, if you're going through these, I'm successful, but I think there's something else, and you're just trying to stay self-reliant, I call it the enemy. The enemy will come in and give you these doubts, right? They'll give you these, you shouldn't be thinking that. You're successful. You shouldn't be thinking about doing something else. That's suicide. Why would you want to start over? Blah, blah, blah. And so what I had to learn, and is I had to build what I called my board of advisors. My board of advisors, and these were people not that I was in business with, but these were people that I would surround myself with to help me. And one of them happened to be John Maxwell. And who has turned into a dear, dear friend. And at that time, he was a mentor. And when my father passed, he asked me the question. And he said, when are you going to stop chasing success and chase significance? And I didn't understand that until I spoke the eulogy at my father's funeral. And I looked over the crowd. He was an Olympic swim coach. And I said, whoa, there's 400 or 500 people here. And they're athletes, they're parents, they're other coaches. And they were coming up to me. And they were sharing some impactful stories. There was a guy who even brought, remember the old school cassette recorders where you put the cassette in, you push it down, you push play? He brought that to my dad's funeral and said, I carry this with me. I'm getting goosebumps telling the story. I carry this with me so I can hear your dad's voice. And it was like a cadence, like go, go, go. And remember, he's a swim coach. And that was him doing breaststroke, going up and down on the water. And he says he uses that to this day in his own coaching world. Okay, long answer there to your story is if you are having success and yet you're feeling called to something else, it's natural. It's okay. So after that time, and Maxwell said, when are you going to start chasing significance? I call it the beach chair moment. The beach chair moment was I came back to Charleston after my dad died. I sat in a beach chair. I'm a spiritual guy, so I brought my Bible, my journal, sunscreen for my bald head. I sat there, I mourned, and I read scripture, and I journaled, and I kept hearing, surround yourself with better people, surround yourself with better people. And I didn't know what it meant. So I took it to John. I took it to my pastor, and it sits right here, right? It's scripture. It's Proverbs 13:20. It says, walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. And I thought, oh boy, have I surrounded myself with not wise people? And my pastor said, have you ever considered selling your businesses? And he said, well, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you should probably pay attention. And I did. I sold everything. And I stepped in this path now of building the I Love Coaching community and serving coaches. Long answer there too. It's normal. when you feel that you are in a successful container and something might be calling you out there. And John calls it jumping the fence.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of those signs that someone has outgrown a season of life?
Great question. You get bored. It's not as refreshing or it's not as fulfilling as it once was, right? I can just speak from my own experience. Again, on the tennis court, it was great. But there was a point in time when I was looking around and I was seeing some of the pros at our club, 50, 60. I mean, Jimmy Connor's first coach was there and he was 73 years old. And I thought, do I want to be that old on the tennis court feeding balls? No. But again, I had to realize that I was doing what I was doing for me, not for somebody else's or not for the opinion of other people. And I was successful. And one of my partners was like, you're crazy. Why would you want to get out of this world? And I had to think to myself, because I feel like there's something else. So boredom. Some people call it burnout. I don't call it burnout because I don't know if I believe in burnout. I believe if you have burnout, you have lack of vision. And if you have lost focus on a vision, you better pause for a second and go find it again or go find one. Right? That's what my beach chair moment was. I finally got to a point where I got quiet. Right? I got quiet. And you'll feel it. You'll sense it when you are successful. And I've watched a lot of people who have come into our community say exactly that. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm feeling like I should be doing something different that is serving other people. Wow. They have courage, right? In my opinion, they have courage. So you go ahead and just listen to yourself. You'll feel it. You'll know that there is a point in time, and Maxwell says it really well. He says, if you have to be woken up by an alarm clock, you have a career. If you get woken up by a calling, by an emotion, by a love or a passion, that's a calling, right? Not an alarm clock. Yeah.
It's beautiful. What do you think is the difference? And in your opinion, does it even matter? The difference between misalignment and the other stuff that you talked about, the exhaustion and the boredom and the burnout. Like, how do you know if it's something that just is like, you need to move to a new phase versus like, there's a big issue here and you need to make a change?
Well, I think misalignment, again, I'm only going to speak from my experience. Misalignment is, I think you know that right out of the gate, right? I think you know if you are misaligned, but here's what I believe you have to have before you can say misaligned. You've got to understand, what does alignment look like, right? And for me, alignment is all about values. I know what my values are. I know what my family values are. I know what my company's values are. I know what values are. And I don't believe it starts with why. I'm not a big fan of that. So alignment, you have to understand what your values are, right? And when you step into alignment that doesn't feel right, I believe everyone says it starts with why. Simon Sinek, it starts with why. I don't believe that. I believe it starts with who, right? I really do believe that it starts with the who you are surrounding yourself with. And that comes back to values, right? That comes back to character. That comes back to so many other things that you got to see that first, right? Are you in a position and are you aligned? In my tennis career, I knew I wanted to own my own club in 10 years. That's why I did what I did. I was making $7.25 in the beginning, and my parents were not happy. They were like, you have a college degree, you play professional tennis, and you're answering the phone for $7.25. In their mind, I was misaligned. In my mind, I was aligned because I knew where I was going. I had vision, right?
Yeah.
When I was in the real estate space, I didn't go right into general brokerage ownership. I actually got in and I wanted to clean the floors, right? I wanted to know every single role inside of a brokerage before I started investing in brokerage to see if I aligned with it. And when I say cleaning the floors, I mean, I would get in and I would try to do every role I could. And what's neat about in the coaching space that I watch is when people come in and they say they have imposter syndrome, right? We hear that all the time right now. And that's kind of a buzzword in the universe, is what it feels like right now. Imposter syndrome is very simple. Imposter syndrome is this: if from our coaching space, if you're stepping into the coaching space and you have imposter syndrome, that really means that what you're getting ready to go coach or what you're getting ready to go share, you probably haven't really maximized the experience in that space, right? Because what we coach to is we coach people to be what are called real coaches. And a real coach is a relevant, experiential, authentic leader, right? That's what someone should be who is coaching somebody else. And in that space of being misaligned or being inauthentic or having imposter syndrome, they're not going to last very long in that container, right? And they will know. And so that's sometimes what kicks them out too.
Yeah. Okay, so you've talked several times about who you're surrounding yourself with. Are you able to share what changes you made when that question was asked of you?
Yes, absolutely.
Did people get cut?
Easily, yes. Here's the thing. I'm going to read it again. Proverbs 13:20 says, walk with the wise and become wise. Let's pause right there. So when you're looking at your who's, the question is, are you the wisest? And are you pulling people along? Or are you a collective group of wise people that are empowering each other to become wiser? Walk with the wise and become wise. So my vision statement for our I Love Coaching community, we've been blessed to be able to serve coaches on 4 continents now. And my team hates it. I still do introductory calls because I'm looking for the wise. Could I go turn on the ad machine tomorrow and have every Tom, Dick, and Harry in there? Yeah, probably. Do I want every Tom, Dick, and Harry? Absolutely not, right? And so when you are defining your who's that you are around, you have to understand who are you looking for? What is the definition of the definition, the attributes, the character, the value of the people that you want to surround yourself with? And when I look back on it in my franchise ownership, I was carrying those people. Right? They weren't empowering me to be better. They were, thank you, Adam, collecting a paycheck. That's not wrong. Okay, that is not wrong. That was their role. They were investor partners, silent investment partners. But to me, that wasn't walking with the wise, right? That was, and the question that my pastor and John gave me was, who are you spending the most time with? And I had to answer it honestly. And they were like, does it align with wise? And I said, no, not at all. So when I went in there and told them all that today was an easy conversation with me, and this is exactly what I said, easy conversation for me, maybe not for you. I'm either going to buy you all out or you're going to buy me out. And this is not personal. I've just decided that I don't want to walk with you anymore because they weren't wise. I mean, they were wise in their own right, but they weren't wise as it relates to what I was looking to align with. And they all decided to buy me out, which was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It got me out of that container, right? And now what I look for is I look for 3 simple values in our coaching community. Number 1 is, are they real? Relevant, experiential, authentic leaders. Are they real? Number 2 is GSD. Do they get stuff done? Period, right? I don't care what stuff is. You define stuff, but do you get it done? And lastly, can you do it while having fun? Right? So be real, get it done, and do it all while having fun. Those are my 3 values that I look for, and the characteristics of a person that I now get to walk with in my community is simply that.
Great. What about your board of advisors that you mentioned earlier? Because I know that this term is used very differently. And so how do you define it? What are you looking for? How formal or informal is it? Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So I do have once a quarter. Once a quarter, I do get together with my 5 board of advisors, and it scares me, right? Let me back up. If your board of advisors doesn't scare you, and I don't mean like walking through the woods, can't see in front of you, scary. I mean like holding you accountable, holding you able to what you have said you are going to do. Like I have a meeting next week with some board of advisor members. And this is collectively for all of us, though they are members of my board. And I don't have all my stuff done yet. And I'm sweating that meeting. It's a week from tomorrow and I'm sweating it a little bit. So let's go back to this same thing. I look for people who are, I always say you have to be a chapter ahead of somebody in the coaching space, right? And these are people that are not chapters ahead of me. These are people that are like series ahead of me. right? So these are people that are beyond where I could comprehend going. And just giving Maxwell as an example, right? 90 plus books, 70 in his late 70s now. John is far beyond my years. And what's really neat about that is, do I see myself following his footsteps? No, but I can actually go to him and ask him specific questions of certain things. And one of the things I love asking him, along with a few other board of advisor members, is who do you know that I should know? Right? Because those people can open up doors that are of greater than 1%ers, if that makes sense, right? Another one is in there who is a private equity guy. I don't know where his net worth is, but about 5 years ago, he exceeded 100 million. And that is a space that he is my financial go-to guy, right? So if I have an investing question, or if I have something along those lines, or if I'm focusing on my net worth for that year, I'll go lean into that guy. Dan Martell was never on my board, but he was a personal coach of mine. And I got to spend a lot of time with Dan up in Kelowna. And gosh, he's so far beyond his years, whether you like him or not, whether you like his content or not, that's not the point. Just his ability to have had experiences that he has. And again, being able to lean into that type of an experienced dude was just priceless, right? Was just priceless. So I'll give a quick little story here of accountability. I had an accountability session with the back, and this was probably 10 years ago, a board of advisor group then. And I owed some money. Like I owed some accountability money because I had messed up. And it's about $5,000. So I paid the $5,000. And at that point in time, we were raising money for the homeless to go buy turkeys. And this was like in the November time. And it's okay, Roach, put your 5,000 up. Thank you. And sorry. Great. So we did. One guy said, great, let's go buy turkeys. Let's go buy turkeys. Let's go buy turkeys. And another guy said, no, why would I buy turkeys? Because you made a mistake for the homeless people. No, that's not what we're going to do. Next month, you're going to see what we do with your money because you wasted your time. Therefore, I'm going to go waste your money. Interesting. Okay. I don't know what he's going to do. Shows up next month and he has $5,000 worth of champagne. Okay, well, we're celebrating something, right? He takes the champagne and he pours it out. Just pours it out. And he said, I want this to be, I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but I want this to be a visual of what it looks like to waste time and money. You thought it was okay to say yes to something else when you committed to something and you didn't follow through with it. And because $5,000 wasn't a lot for you, it was something that you just did. Great. But here's the visual of what it looks like to basically just light it on fire. It's illegal to light money on fire, but we're just going to pour this out, right? And he did. I still remember that to this day. So you've got to surround yourself with people that, not scary as in, again, walking through a forest that you can't see in front of your face, but there is excitement, maybe a little nervousness, and just almost a childlike feeling inside that's like, oh man, I can't wait to go meet with these guys. And I'm a little nervous to see what they say. But at the same time, it grows you so fast.
Yeah. So great. Do you get them all in a room once a quarter?
Sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It's a lot of fun.
Okay. So I know that you work with high achievers, especially in the coaching community. What are some of the patterns that you see over and over again among these people who feel stuck?
Yeah.
What are their blind spots that they don't even see?
Yeah. I mean, it's simple and without sounding cliche, it's just themselves, right? And here's the blind spot that they have to overcome right out of the gate. So we have a 4-phase blueprint. And the 4-phase blueprint, phase 1 is all about going inside before you go outside. Right. So we got to check yourself first. And that is the audit, right? You got to do an audit of yourself. And when you go into phase 2, it's building one portion of your business. And we say that you got to go back to phase 1 before you go to phase 3. You got to go back to phase 1 before you go back to phase 4. And so as I say, they are in their way is because people come into the coaching space from the past container, the most recent past container that they experienced or lived in, right?
Mm.
And so when I got into the coaching space, I had been known for building real estate franchises. I had been known for recruiting. I had been known for building software businesses. And so I thought I had to coach in that space. Here's what I realized, though, was it wasn't my passion zone and it wasn't my genius. It was just what I knew at that moment, at that season in life, right? And so when I see these coaches come in and I see them sitting in their past container, I'll let them go a little bit and I'll watch frustration kick in, right? I'll watch as they become demotivated to bring on more clients. And then I'll simply ask them, what's going on? I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Cut out for what? Cut out for coaching. Cut out for coaching whom? Who? And they say, my clients. I'm like, okay, well, tell me who your client or clients are, is or are. Well, it's so-and-so. It's this industry. Okay, let's go back to the blueprint. Did you miss the question where it said passion? Do you have passion for this space? I had one lady come back after about 6-8 months of coaching. And she said, Adam, if I have to continue to coach this avatar, I'm going to look like you and have to pull all my hair out. I said, okay. I said, what are you going to do? She said, I'm going to go back to the blueprint. And she comes back and she says, whoa, I missed it. I missed it. And I said, what'd you miss? She said, I missed the passion space. I said, well, tell me more about that. And she said, well, I thought I was supposed to coach leaders. And what I realized was, I don't want to coach leaders. Great. Who do you want to coach? She said, I have passion around coaching mothers who are CEOs of businesses. Great. That's a great niche. As soon as she got focused on that, business went up and to the right. So what do I see? I see that they are in their own way and they don't know it yet. And so I'm not being negative there. What I am being is aware that I see this all the time, right? We call it a problem solution cycle. And most people think that their most recent container of problem solution solving has to come from there. I've had many seasons of life where I have many problems that I've overcome and created solutions for. But I'm not going to coach to all of those spaces, right? I'm going to pick the ones that I have the most passion for. And I coach the coaches because I have the most passion for coaching coaches.
Yeah. What do you think is keeping people from making the changes that they know they need to make?
That's a great question. The first thing I would say is where are they building, right? Or what, when it comes time to making changes, it is people put themselves in silos, right? And you can't build, you can't develop, you can't progress in a silo. Because in a silo, we are sitting with ourselves, right? Where we're sitting with our own thoughts. And what's interesting about this is I look at my past. I look at my kids. My kids are soon to be 18 and 16. They both go to a tennis academy here in Charleston. That's all they do. They're driving literally back as we speak from Mobile, Alabama. They were there. They've been there since last Wednesday, bless their hearts, for a Southern tennis tournament. But tennis is one of the most isolating sports, period, if you think about it, right? You're 78 feet away from your opponent. You can't talk to your opponent. You can't talk to the official. You can't talk to your coach. You can't talk to the crowd. You can't talk to anybody. And so that's what I mean by a silo, right? When you put yourself in a silo, it's you and this thing between your ears. And that thing between your ears usually wins because I call it the enemy, but people call it whatever they want to call it, comes in and you start to believe the lies. You start to believe the lies. And instead of surrounding yourself with smarter people, instead of surrounding yourself with a board of advisors, you think that you have to be self-reliant and only rely on yourself and your thoughts and all those other things that are around you. And it doesn't work. The fear will take over. You got to know that your brain has two jobs: keep you alive and conserve energy. If we're in a successful container and we're thinking about going to do something different, the brain's going to say, if you're building in a silo, the brain's going to say, that looks like a lot of energy. We don't think you should do that. So we're going to put these doubtful thoughts in your head first. And if you start to believe them, good, we're going to win. brain, the brain's going to win because the brain doesn't want to conserve energy.
Yeah.
And so what we have to do is realize, okay, we're in a silo. We are afraid of making a change. I'm going to go tell Ann. I'm going to go tell Adam. I'm going to tell whoever that I'm afraid to make a change. Now, here's what we get to do as coaches. Here's what we get to do as mentors, leaders, whatever you want to call yourself. I'll give you a little cheat code here. If someone comes to you and says, hey, I have fear and this is my fear. Here's the question that you have to ask if someone comes to you. Do you want me to feel this or fix this? Because the neat part is if someone has that fear and they're building something in their head in a silo of making a change, they do want you to solve it, but maybe sometimes they may just want you to feel it. Hey, I'm considering jumping the fence, and this is what I'm thinking. Man, Ann, that's a deep thought. Hey, curious, do you want me to feel this or fix this right now? No, just feel it for a second. Okay, cool. Well, tell me more, right? And let them go. Those people need that. Those people deserve that. So if that is a listener, go share something with somebody else. And you can even set up the conversation. Hey, I'm about to share something with you. I heard this bald guy on a podcast say either feel it or fix it. I just need you to feel this for a second and see what they say. Let them sit there with it.
What have you intentionally removed from your life that's created more peace for you?
Can we talk about ex-wives? No, I'm just kidding. We won't do that. No. I mean, that is one of them. That's a great question. Yeah, this is going to sound backwards. Team members. Team members, right? Again, building this community, I don't need a lot of team members. I actually have one team member. Her name is Jess. Jess is the integrator of I Love Coaching, the community, and she's amazing. Now, we've had a big team before. I thought I needed a big team. I thought I needed a sales team, a marketing team. I thought I needed all of that stuff, and I don't, and I didn't. And I don't have to do 90-minute L10 meetings. I don't have to do those types of things. We have a very simple check-in, right? Every Monday, it is on track or off track with goals and big rocks. When we get to dos, done or not done. If they're not done and if we're not on track, we do the IDS, identify, discuss, and solve. We prioritize the IDS. We put that into play, and then we go back to the to-dos. Okay, great. This is what you said you're going to do for the end of this week. Friday, we have another hour meeting. That's it. I have a 2-hour meeting running a 7-figure coaching community with my team, and that's it. That's it.
Right.
2 hours. That's all it takes. So team members. Got rid of team members.
Yeah, love that. That's amazing. Having worked with so many successful coaches, what is a belief about success that you have had to unlearn over the years?
That it's all about success. That literally everything is about success. It is ad nauseum. I have lived that. I've lived the desire for the notoriety. I've lived the desire for the paychecks. I've lived the desire for when I moved here, and this is going to sound really bad, and that's okay because I've moved on from it. When we moved here from Los Angeles, my now ex-wife was like, okay, well, define your perfect area. And I'd never been to Charleston. I picked Charleston because I had a business coach. The ex-wife wanted to move to the South and raise the kids. And I had a business coach say, hey, go get an accordion style map, lay it on a table and circle everywhere you'd want to live in the South and cross off everywhere. So I got one and I was like, gosh, this is going to take forever. So I just got a yardstick and I went West Coast, East Coast, Charleston, let's check it out. And that's how I chose Charleston. No joke. And she said, well, what would a perfect day feel like? And again, I'm sharing the ego here.
Yeah.
Well, I want to live in a place where I can ride my bike to the beach. Check. Where there's low crime. Check. And when people drive by or walk by, they'll say, that's where Adam Roach lives. And ego was such a driver. I don't mean arrogance, just that success was everything. And it took the loss of my dad to realize that success is not everything. And John kept asking me, when are you going to stop chasing success and focus on significance? And I thought I was being significant. I thought I was helping all these agents, but I wasn't. Why? And this is not bad language here for business owners. I'm not being negative towards this because I've lived in that seat. My favorite day was like the third of the next month because I got to look at the following month's P&L. I got to see what my profit was, right? That's a smart business person. But when that is the only thing you worry about, I was transactional. I wasn't relational. I built these companies. We were doing about $2 billion in sales. We probably had just south of 800 agents. And someone always said, you know what the coolest part would be? When you can walk through your office and no one knows who you are. I did the opposite. I walked through my office and I didn't know who anybody was. So bad. I made it all about me. And that's my story, right? So I'm not saying people who are chasing success is bad, but if you're chasing success for the wrong reasons, it's a dead end, right? You will hit a dead end. And that $100 million guy, he had a goal of hitting 100 million. And that was his life dream. And he hit it. And he said it was the most depressing day ever. He said there was no blimp that went over with my name on it. There was no parade for me. Nothing changed. And that is because when we focus on that as an idol, we lose focus on everything, right? We lose focus on relationships. We lose focus on what we are called to do, right? I believe we have an assignment and we have a purpose. And spiritually, the assignment is to do what you're called to do. And the purpose is to move the kingdom forward, right? That's it. But when you focus on success and that's it, I do believe that things happen intentionally for you, right? That God's a pruner. And if you are in a season, just using myself as an example, where I'm chasing success, I got divorced. That was a very expensive divorce. And this past April was my last payment to my ex-wife 10 years later.
Man.
And it was an expensive one, right? And when I say expensive, it was 5 figures a month for 10 years.
Man.
But that had to be taken from me. I believe that, right? I believe that had to be pruned to wake up. I hate that my father passed. I do. I keep him in my cell phone as if I could call him. I don't remove him from my favorites. And it woke me up, though, right? It woke me up. I had to speak his eulogy to see what significance looked like. I'd been told to chase significance. I thought I was. I wasn't until that guy walked up to me and handed me that tape recorder.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You haven't worked with my dad in 20 plus years, and yet you're carrying his voice around? That's a little weird, but kind of cool. And I was like, whoa, that's not weird. That's significance.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with understanding what your success vision and focus is. But if that is your idol, if that is what you are putting all of your marbles on, I'm just going to simply say from experience, you will be disappointed standing on that podium of number one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that the people with the biggest ego have the biggest blind spot around their big ego?
Well,
and what can we do about it? Because I'm asking that partly for myself, right?
Well, here's what I had to learn. And we have this in our phase 1 of our blueprint. And we call it the identity factor. And it's a true factor. It's a math factor, if you will, with letters. And it goes W plus L plus V equals pose. W is the wound. We're all wounded, one way, shape, or form. And when I went through this was painful for me. So I'm just going to pull back the curtain here and share some Adam Roach personal stuff. When I had a coach taking me through this, they said, okay, and we know you love your dad. We know what an incredible person he was to you, but he wounded you. Get out of here. He didn't wound me. He said, okay, let me ask you a few questions. He said, was your dad a passive dad or an active dad? I said, I don't understand the question. What do you mean? Well, did he sit you down and say, son, this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to learn. Son. No. And he said, well, so what did he do? I said, I guess my dad just showed me how through experience. It was more what was caught, not taught. Okay, cool. And he said, well, that's passive. And he said, did your dad get his fulfillment in life through the family, through church, through what? External? I said, well, my dad was on a lot of magazine covers. He was in the Swimming Hall of Fame. He's in the Water Ski Hall of Fame. I mean, there's a lot of things that my dad did that I went into his office and I'd always look around in awe. It's okay. So your dad's fulfillment was fulfilled from outside of the household. I was like, yeah. It's okay. Let's go to your lie. What do you think the lie is that you told yourself because of all that wound? I had to sit there. And the lie was I was inadequate. Right? I was inadequate. Because I didn't think I would ever have my face on that many magazine covers. I didn't think I'd ever have Hall of Fame, name and then Hall of Fame next to me, right? So that goes wound plus L is the lie. So we all have a wound, we all have a lie, and then we all have a vow. And the vow is that we vowed to ourselves to hide the lie. So my vow was I'm going to win. My vow was I'm going to succeed. My vow is I will stand on that podium and be number one. And what kind of pose does that create with that equation? Wound plus lie plus vow, my pose, performance driven. 100% performance driven. And as I looked, when I went through that equation and I went back to my past, I thought, I loved being at the front of the room. I loved being the teacher. I loved being the one that all eyes were on me because I could perform. And then my coach said this, and he said, you got to realize that we all have unique hearts, right? And God goes after your heart every single day. And he says, there's two types of energy, feminine energy and masculine energy, and it's not sex related. And he says, you have a masculine heart, a masculine energy. And of course, at times you have feminine energy too, but you are driven in that masculine space. You got to realize the masculine heart consists of three things: an adventure, a warrior, and a lover. Nowhere in there is performance. So I want to ask you, as it relates to your true identity, when you hear those three, which one would you step into the most to be the significance that you want to be to other people? I said, that's easy. I said, I'm going to be all three. I can be the adventurer from a trailblazer. I'll be the warrior because I'll take a stand for everybody. And the lovers, because anybody that comes into my community, they're going to feel my relationship with them, not that they're just another member. And I know every single person's name in our community. When we have our community calls, they get on there every Thursday. There's a large group of people on there, not just because I can see their name. I know them. I'll reach out to them. And that helped me overcome this performance pose that I had to realize that I was doing all the time. And it really helped. Really helped.
Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure. Yeah.
I feel like that's going to resonate with a lot of people. Yeah. I wish we had so much more time to talk, but I would love to do some rapid fire questions if you're up for it.
Ready. Yes.
Okay. What has been the most impactful book that you've read?
You can see a lot of them behind me. Yeah. So I'm going to be a good husband. And this is my wife's most recent book. It's called Restore, 90 Days of Intentional Living. And this is such a good book. It's 90 days of intentional living in life, business, and faith. So good. Dana Gentry is her name. She USA Today bestseller, her first book ever, and she hit number 14 on it. It was such an incredible story.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so cool. So cool. So I definitely have to promote that one. Yes.
Love that. Anything else?
Book-wise? Gosh. So all of these books I have read, and all of these books are signed because they don't go on my wall unless they're signed and I've met the author. This is John's most recent book, which I definitely would highly recommend everybody read. It's How to Get a Return on Failure. Yep, for sure. Because failure is so important in our lives that we sometimes have a tendency to push that aside, and you need to live in that failure space.
What is one habit that's changed your life?
Oh, morning walks. Definitely morning walks. Yes. 3.
Solo or with your wife?
What's that?
Solo or with your wife?
100% solo.
Nice.
100% solo. Yep. And had I not started that probably 5 years ago, my cortisol was through the roof. My doctor was like, bro, calm down. I was like, what does that mean? He's like, go for a walk. I was like, what does that mean? And he's like, I want you to do level 2 cardio. I was like, I still don't know what that means. What are you telling me? He's like, go for a walk. I said, why would I do that? And he's like, because you need to calm your butt down. And so sure enough, I went for a walk and I've never stopped. And it's my time. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't listen to music. I literally go out at 5 a.m. every morning and I listen for 10 things and I'll identify 10 things and then I get quiet. And I shut it down up here, right? My beach chair moment. We are where we are. I am where I am outside of prayer and sacrifice because I got quiet. And that is my every single day is I get to wake up, not a coffee drinker, and I just go get quiet first. Now, then I walk to the gym. Every morning I walk to the gym. And I do believe that you have to exhaust your body to control your mind. So even though I've gone from a nice parasympathetic nervous system space, I'll go destroy myself at the gym. So this thing just like shuts off completely. It's like, survive. And I do that every day. So yeah, my morning walk though is my number one.
It's amazing. What is one thing that you've seen creates better relationships?
Great question. That question that I gave to everybody. Do you want me to feel this or fix this? Right? Because here's the thing. If you are feeling it, you're listening. And you got to listen. If you want to fix it, you still have to listen. Because you have to know what you're listening for. Though the feel it, fix it, my wife and I have instituted that. And we've done that now for probably about 3 years or so because she's a solver too. She's a go-getter. I mean, I think she's somewhere in this country right now teaching a class. I think she's in Texas. Yeah, we looked at Life 360. The kids are in Alabama. She's in Texas. I'm in Charleston. And it's just like we're all over the place. But feel it or fix it is the best question to ask anywhere. The other one, the other statement is say this. When you're in a conversation with someone, and regardless of the situation, if you want to diffuse it a little bit, say this. You might be right. You might be right. And just let that sit for a second. Right? If you're in a heated argument, you might be right. Watch it come down. Yeah, watch the energy come down. Watch the defense come down.
Good. Thinking how I could have used that one last night. Okay, what's a mindset that people need to let go of?
Ooh, a mindset that people need to let go of. Hustle culture. Don't believe it.
Yeah.
The mindset of I need to hustle. No, BS. That is so garbage. The hustle culture is BS. I believe that you need to have, instead of a hustle culture, have a transformation culture. Transformation happens in 3 ways. Number one, transformation happens when humility comes first. What is humility? Humility is just showing up where you're a mess, right? Show up where you're a mess with your coach or with your board of advisors. Transformation begins with humility, and then transformation thrives in a community. And lastly, transformation inspires transformation. So again, if you are in a silo, understand that transformation thrives in a community. Community can mean anything. That can mean your board of advisors. That can mean a group that you belong to. That can be a small group, whatever it is, right? And then transformation inspires transformation, right? So if we look at the hustle culture, which is BS in my opinion, does that work there? No, hustle culture, you can't show up with humility. It's like, oh, I got to go. You can't. Hustle doesn't work in a community because you're trying to be number one. And hustle definitely does not inspire hustle, in my opinion, right? Hustle to me is just like, I'm exhausted at the end of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. Okay, I know you've got something exciting coming up at the end of this month. I would love for you to just share a little bit about what you're working on and how we can learn more.
Sure. So twice a year, virtually, we host what we call the Scalable Offer Intensive. And what that means is if you have an offer, and you don't have to be in a coaching space, but if you have an offer that you are actively selling, then we teach you how to scale that offer, right? Scaling it to the point where you can go from one-to-one to one-to-many, and then maybe even go to a platform where that offer is distributed, right? So whether that's, we've helped coaches become TED Talk coaches, we've helped coaches become USA Today bestsellers, international bestsellers. And that is what we teach people, and we will teach them on one day, right? It'll be the 25th of June, and they can go to ilovecoachingco.com. And if you go to the events tab, you will see where it says scalable offer virtual, and click on that.
Amazing.
And we are going to limit it to a limited number of people, probably 20, because it'll be 10 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. And we're going to work on your offer, and then we're going to coach you, myself and my integrator. So this is going to be a workshop approach, and people walk away with incredible scalable offers at the end of it.
It's amazing. And we will drop the link for that in our show notes.
Okay, great. Excited.
Adam, if there is one thing that you want the listener to remember from this conversation, what would it be?
The difference between success and significance. Right? That's it. Understand which lane you are in right now. And that's neither one are right, neither one of them are wrong. But understand which one will create a legacy for you, your success or your significance. And remember, you can't have a legacy without legs, right? And so if there is no one following you behind you, and I don't mean your vanity of your Instagram, I mean truly the impact you are having on people in a significant space, you will hit a dead end. And when you are no longer here, people will not remember how you made them feel.
Amazing. It has been such a joy to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for joining us, Adam.
And my pleasure, and excited for our paths to continue to cross. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Mpowered Living. I hope today's conversation sparked some inspiration and gave you tools to live more intentionally in your family, work, and life. If you enjoyed our episode today, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an inspiring story or actionable takeaway. And if you know someone who would love this episode, share it with them. Because living an intentional life is better when we do it together. Until next time, remember, the life you want doesn't happen by chance, it happens by choice. Let's keep creating it one step at a time.